1811 4000। यही कंज्यूमर हेल्पलाइन।
जागो ग्राहक जागो।
It was just about a month ago that Captain Gopinath had reacted rather violently when Vijay Mallya first suggested that he wanted to buy Air Deccan. Our models are different, our cultures are different, and our ideologies will clash, he said. But today, the same ex-services officer announced that he had agreed to shake hand with the man who's coming to be known as the takeover czar.
In yet another consolidation move in the Indian aviation industry, Vijay Mallya's UB Group today acquired 26% in Deccan Aviation that owns low-cost carrier Air Deccan at a cost of 550 crore rupees. UB Holdings has paid an advance of 150 crore rupees and the remaining amount would be paid in the next 4 weeks. Air Deccan Managing Director G.R. Gopinath told reporters after the company's board meeting in Bangalore.
It would make enormous financial and operational sense in cutting costs on both sides, finding mutually common areas of cooperation and sharing best practices. We felt that in the interest of the aviation industry, in the interest of the consumers, in the interest of our existing stakeholders, that this is the best option for Air Deccan.
Gopinath would continue as executive chairman of the board, while Mallya would be the vice chairman. The transaction, which values Air Deccan at rupees 155 a share, would be through allotment of almost 97 lakhs fully paid up equity shares to UB. Gopinath said a team would be appointed next week to work out operational synergies with UB Group, which runs the premier full-service true value carrier Kingfisher Airlines. The two together would have a fleet of 71 aircraft, 70 destinations and 33% market share.
This will also, I think, create a large combine in terms of sharing of routes, interlining arrangements for putting people on each other's flights. Air Deccan, as you know, is already the largest route network operator. We are having 65 airports, both large and small, and very remote. We are doing 350 flights a day, every day, to 65 destinations. It will, with the combine now, it will probably become the largest airline in terms of market share.
The two airline companies would sign a separate shareholder agreement in the near future. Deccan Aviation said in a filing on the Bombay Stock Exchange.
Air Deccan has allowed UB Holdings to enter the arena by giving them 26% new preferential shares. With this, one can also say that Kingfisher Airlines has actually saved Air Deccan from drowning. But Captain Gopinath also has to say that this will also provide an opportunity for new jobs for people. With Cameron Madhuroni Swami in Bangalore for Headlines Today.
Being a former services officer, Captain Gopinath has been professionally trained on making the right moves in the battlefield, and this surely is war. But has he done the right thing? What will really change for the customer? Will things become costlier, especially because there will be now greater consolidation taking place in the aviation industry? That's what we'll be talking about. We're joined in the studio by UK boss. He's run several airlines himself and can give us a sense of whether any operational synergies will be achieved. After all, this is a merger between two completely different types of companies with very, very different ethos. We have with us R. Krishnan, a renowned aviation expert. He's been writing for several years on aviation, and to give us the perspective of the customer and how things will really change for the customer, we have Prof.S.R.Khanna, Managing Editor of Consumer Voice. But first let's move across, and we're now joined by Captain Gopinath, the man of the moment. Let's go across to him first. Captain Gopinath, thanks so much for joining us. You'd once said, and not very long ago, that we're from Mars, Mallya is from Venus, the twain shall never meet. What's changed now?
Yeah, as you know, as I very clearly said, I initially spurned the offer of Vijay Mallya because I mistook it, or I thought that he was not going to deviate from his initial plan. He offered that let's merge the airlines because it is foolish for us to kill each other. let's merge the airlines, and he said let's have both the models under the same roof. We'll have both the Kingfisher super luxury model and the Air Deccan low cost model. He said, I sell premium whiskey, I sell ordinary whiskey. Let us merge. And I felt that that is not going to make any sense because a merged model, there'll be conflict of culture, there'll be conflict of in every aspect there'll be conflict because you'll be cannibalizing each other's traffic. I mean, it never works. It has never worked before, and I rejected the offer. Then recently, about 4 or 5 days ago, he suddenly came and called me, and he said, look, I'm ready to come as a financial strategic investor, meaning that I'll invest in Air Deccan and allow me to continue my dream of running Air Deccan as a low-cost airline, and without losing the identity or the integrity of the business model, because he said there is sense in you keeping your identity, but allow me to invest in your company, a significant stake of 26%. And he said, I'll make you the best offer. And at the same time, he said that without merging, there are a lot of areas where we can, synergize.
So are you saying that going forward there never will be a merger of the two airlines and they'll operate completely independently?
Absolutely. I mean, I said that that's the reason last time I said that we are from different planets. What I meant was that a merger will never work because the models are different, and if you are together, then you are cannibalizing the economy passengers of Kingfisher to Air Deccan. So in that sense, the merger will not work. There will be conflict of culture within the company. They will kill each other. Now it's an independent company. He has a financial stake. If Air Deccan does well, he will do well, and he's got a large investments, and he will not do anything to hurt Air Deccan. From the Kingfisher point of view. At the same time, it is also a great win-win situation for both of us. Kingfisher will benefit. They will benefit from the huge inventory that we have. We have a huge inventory of parts. We have got simulators coming in. We have got hangars. Similarly, there will be seamless connectivity to a lot of places. Many passengers can travel Bombay, Delhi, and Kingfisher if they feel like that on first class. And Delhi Pathankot, Delhi Simla, Delhi Kulu, Delhi Dehradun, where he does not fly, they can go by Air Deccan.
Right, Captain Gopinath, just hang in there for a while. Mr. Bose, clearly Kingfisher has come in, maybe through the back door, not really in the way Vijay Mallya would have originally liked. He believes he's got a strategic stake now by being a strategic investor. But will this takeover, will this stake that's been taken now actually prove to be good for the two airlines and for the industry?
See, from the industry perspective, if you ask me from that angle, I believe it's going to be good, because there was, as it is, one big player which has already come in, which is Jet Airways, nobody to match it. So there is again one more coming to stand behind him, and competition is always good for the industry. But from the other point of view, like one is a very low-cost airline, rather I'll say the cheapest airline in the country from fare perspective, and the other is the most premium airline. It is a difficult scenario, and it has to be seen. I haven't seen this kind of a merger happening anywhere in the world, but this is for the first time, and probably, if you ask me from industry point, it is going to be a strategic buyout ultimately. That's what I feel, and they have entered, as Captain Gopinath said, that it will be very difficult for two cultures to come into. So they are probably taking that time to set right everything, and ultimately finally announce into a full-fledged.
Right, Professor S.R.Khanna, what are the problems that you foresee from a customer's perspective?
You see, the only thing that is good for a customer is real competition. For example, if you see a kushti match where the Pehlwans are fighting really independently and fiercely, the best result comes out for the public at large. But if it is like a match which has been fixed, so as far as Air Deccan and Kingfisher are concerned, when two competitors meet, I suspect the consumer is going to be shortchanged. Because if Mr. Mallya, sitting on the board of Air Deccan, can influence the low-cost pricing strategy of Air Deccan, then consumers can be prepared to shell out more in the next 2 years.
Right, Mr. Krishnan, the question really is that the entire Air Deccan model is based on rock bottom fares, which is what the customers enjoyed, which is why so many new people have been able to experience the joy of flying. Now that you've got someone else over there as well, maybe the customer gets shortchanged, as Professor Khanna is suggesting.
No, let me tell you one thing.
whether it is Jet or is it Kingfisher or Air Deccan or Spice, everyone is losing money. Nobody is able to get the revenue which deserve to be given for the seats they are filling.
So Air Deccan suffered a loss of about 200 crores in the last quarter.
It's a low fare airline, it's not a low cost airline. If you look at the low cost, what is the low cost? Your landing, your parking, your navigation, everything is same. Your pilots don't get less, they all get the same. The crew get the same. You may outsource a little bit of, catering kind of things, which doesn't really make much difference. If you're going to increase Air Deccan's fares by 100 rupees and say, I'm going to give you a sandwich, people will do it. So his idea was first to capture the market and then strategize. But in the process of capturing the market, he began to lose huge money. For instance, Kingfisher is an excellent airline. He's also got some amount of market share, but he's also losing money. If you ask Dr. Malaya, he will tell you that his average revenue per passenger, like you have ARPU in telecom, is much below than what he is spending. So it's not that he may be losing less, Deccan is losing more. But one thing which I want to say from the observation Captain Gopinath made, that I don't think he will hurt our airline. Now tell me one thing, why should anybody invest 550 crores in the first instance to acquire 26%, and under SEBI that you're going to acquire 20% more through public offer, which means spend another 400 crores and not make money? And secondly, when he made a point, if somebody wants to fly Kingfisher, Bombay, Delhi, I will take him to Pathankot. So is Gopinath admitting that he will be a peripheral player and the trunk routes will be with Kingfisher? Because you must know all the 4 metros plus 2 major metros account for nearly 90% of the revenues of airlines, which Bose will bear me out. So I think they are moving towards a merger. I won't say it's a merger, it's an acquisition. Merger is between Air India and Indian Airlines. Here it is acquisition. So the M is the public sector, the A is this, like right. Jet acquired Sahara.
Absolutely. So Air Deccan really started out symbolizing the aspirations of the common man. Now the king has come in and parked himself over there. Vijay Mallya is known as the takeover czar. Is a takeover in the offing, and will the customers' interests actually get hurt as a consequence of this? That's what we'll be talking about. Plus, when we come back from a short commercial break, we'll tell you about the Air Deccan story and how Air Deccan really changed flying in this country. Stay tuned to Center Stage. Welcome back to Center Stage. The king has bought the common man. Captain Gopinath has sold 26% stake of his company to Kingfisher. The austere Captain Gopinath flying economy class in his functional khadi clothes, and the flamboyant Vijay Mallya, king of good times, jet setting in his designer suits. It's a difference of personality, a difference of ethos and of beliefs. So the big question is, will they be able to work in the same boardroom?
He's hailed as grandson of Bangalore, and the similarities don't end with both owning carriers. One Virgin Atlantic and the other one of the world's fastest growing airlines, Kingfisher. Mallya always cuts attached. His broad-shouldered frame is topped with grizzled leonine hair, while he's perennially blinked up with gold and diamonds, like a Maharaja caricature. Contrast this with the village-bred Gopinath, who dresses like a white-collar officer, dons ordinary spectacles and keeps a low profile. The army officer turned eco-farmer created a whole new market when he started Air Deccan in August 2003 to compete with state-run Indian Airlines, Jet Airways and Sahara. His rejection of Mallya's first open overture to Air Deccan was felt to be a potential blow to the speedy consolidation of an industry that is bleeding money after competition for passengers forced airlines to slash fares. Speaking on their respective working styles, Gopinath once said,
"We are from different planets. He's from Venus, I'm from Mars. We are mining the bottom of the pyramid. He is picking the cream off the top."
Mallya has made his intentions clear even at the time that he unveiled the A380 in India. His appetite was far from being satisfied. Mallya's greatest business passion is Kingfisher Airlines. The all-frills carrier he founded in 2005 based on his Kingfisher beer brand. Kingfisher's 30-strong fleet operates 168 daily flights. The guest experience includes valet service at check-in, live in-flight satellite television, goodie bags, and in his own words, the prettiest air hostesses in the sky. Mallya can hardly wait to take Kingfisher global. The inaugural flight to London is penciled in for next January. He could raise a toast to a White and Mackay single malt to that. Incidentally, Malia just spent £595 million acquiring the Scotch maker, just stays back. Bureau Report, Headlines Today.
So one says, I'll give you the best flying experience in the skies. The other says, I'll give you the cheapest. Let's go back to Captain Gopinath. Captain Gopinath, the big question is, Dr. Malia, and you are really a study in contrast. He with his Swarovski jewels, jet-setting lifestyle, and you with the focus on the common man. How will the opposites actually be able to coexist and co-function?
Vijay Malia has always been my pal for many years. We have a great personal relationship. He comes home. I have been to his house many times. We love drinking Kingfisher beer together. He's a great guy. But obviously, I don't wear suits. Even when I go to London for any conferences, I wear simple cotton shirts. That's my style, and he's a flamboyant guy. But as persons, we are great friends. But obviously, I was irked by the way he said he can. I think it was wrongly reported. I called him up after that. And he said, come to my celebrations. I didn't say I want to buy you. I said, I'm interested in picking up a stake. That is flattering. If somebody wants to invest in Air Deccan, that means Air Deccan is an attractive investment destination.
Alright, we see those pictures over there of you feeding Vijay Malia cake. Clearly, happy occasion nonetheless. But I can't help asking this question. Is there going to be an Air Deccan calendar soon on the lines of the Kingfisher calendar?
No, as you know, there will be absolutely no change. I think the Air Deccan model, if it has to succeed, Vijay Malia knows that. He's a very shrewd businessman. That's what he told me one day. He has got back paper whiskey. The things that you do with Air Deccan will be completely different. We had to be low cost. We had to save every rupee. I travel economy. I stay in guest houses. I don't stay in 5-star hotels. We are going to save every rupee. We are going to cut down costs. We are going to fly more number of hours. We'll increase the aircraft asset utilization, and it will be more and more a low-cost model, and I think it's going to remain that way.
Right, so you believe that the ethos of Air Deccan will be maintained, but Mr. Krishnan, the question is, will these things change in a few months from now, maybe a few weeks, maybe a little longer? It's a strategic investment currently. Will it soon become an acquisition, because he is the takeover king of India?
No, tell me one thing, if he wanted to invest, he could have invested 25%, but under the company law regulation, if you invest 26%, you have a veto right in the board. So if Mr. Gopinath wants to do something and Malia doesn't want, he can always veto it. So it is not friendship when you are spending 550 crores. So obviously he is interested. Now under SEBI, as I told you earlier, if he is going to acquire another 20% and he has 46%, it is not for love, it's business. If I am going to invest that much money, I need returns. Now how am I going to get returns? If I am going to hurt Air Deccan, I may not get the return. But can I grow both them together? If I'm going to have two flights, one flight goes in the morning 9 o'clock from Bangalore to Delhi, the other one goes at 10. 9 o'clock flight has got 5,000 rupees, 10 o'clock has got 3,000. I will prefer the 3,000. So who is hurting whom? So am I going to invest money to hurt myself is the issue. So I think ultimately you will move towards acquisition and not merger.
Clearly a businessman like Vijay Malia will ensure that his interests don't get hurt and the rest of the things will be taken care of later. Let's now go across to H. Madhusudan. He's the Senior Manager Operations of the Air Passenger Association of India. He's been looking really at the aviation business from a passenger perspective. Mr. Madhusudan, what are your apprehensions? Do you believe this deal will actually be good for you and me?
Definitely not, Mr. Rahul. After the merger, the passengers' interest will be affected very badly, in the sense the cost of air travel will go up tremendously. And I am really surprised that Captain Gopinath till recently was telling that he wouldn't join Kingfisher, and I don't know, suddenly he has changed his decision. And in fact, the public was happy that Air Deccan was fulfilling the dreams of a common man. Even a chaprasi or a mason or a cobbler could see air travel.
Sure.
But now it will become a distant dream once again. These three combinations of Air India, Indian, Jet Sahara and Kingfisher, Air Deccan will corner about 90% of the airline business.
All right. Mr. Bose, does that mean the party is over for the customer?
No, I don't think so, because see, aviation growth, if you see what has happened now, is a big growth which is happening. And in spite of that, if people are losing money, if they say there is something wrong in their strategies, I will not say that the common man is going to get affected. There are ways, either you increase the capacity, more capacity should be brought in. BC seats are not available. You can ask anybody, go into the net, if you want to buy a ticket, it's not available.
So, but the fact is, several years ago, something similar happened. We had lots of new operators come in, rates crashed, then some of those operators went away, some got bought over, and the customer didn't really benefit much. Are we now heading back to what happened, say, about 10-15 years ago?
No, it's absolutely different. 10-15 years ago, you never had heard about acquisition. Now, this is the time, nobody is going to close down. One very important thing to be understood. All the airlines are going towards making more, their market share, bringing it more. And there is a capacity requirement, and government must look into that, and that is how things can be balanced. I think Mr. Krishnan will also say on this particular issue.
You see, the question is, markets are maturing. It happened in the stock market. You remember Harshad Mehta days, what it is during NDA days, what it is today. Markets have matured and are maturing. It has happened in telecom. There were so many companies, there are hardly 4 or 5 players. It is bound to happen. In aviation, things started late. So it looks to you as if we are going back. We will not go back. Secondly, if you know, Jet had a huge market share, Internet had a huge market share, which was taken away by Deccan. Then slowly Indigo, Spice, Go, they're all coming in now. Now there are about 14 people, as per a parliament question very recently in this session, they said that 14 applicants are waiting to get their applications cleared. So even if this merger takes place, if you have new guys coming in, they want to bring in 400 to 500 crores to start, well, everybody will have to burn their pockets for some time, at least 2 years, with some deep pockets, some of have. So they will have to burn money and they will try and capture the market share. So what's going to happen is, if this merger of Air India Airlines takes place, the acquisition of Sahara by Jet and that of Deccan by Kingfisher, eventually you will have 4 more players. But the argument of the government that infrastructure constraints are there, so we can't allow new players to come, very well taken. But if the same argument should apply to the existing players also, how can the existing players add 70 more aircraft, but a new guy who comes in with 10 more aircraft, you say that's a constraint? So I think the government should be very, very honest, should say there should be no crony capitalism. The government should say new players are welcome. All right, you may not be accommodating them in Delhi or Bombay, but they can go to other areas. Eventually the market will grow, it will mature. So we don't have to have a policy of shutting new players off, and the new players come in, all the apprehensions expressed by, Sri-Ram Khanna and others, that fares may rise, and will be misplaced.
All right, so it's very, very important for the government to act as well to ensure that the new players can come in and set up their businesses. Only that will ensure that the good times that the customers have enjoyed over the last couple of years will go on. Otherwise, the consolidation could mean higher fares for the customers. On that note, we end Center Stage tonight. Thanks so much, Captain Gopinath, for joining us. Thanks also to our guests in the studio, and thanks, Mr. Madhusudan, for joining us in our Chennai studio. We'll see you again same time tomorrow with another big issue that we'll be putting on Center Stage. Till then, from all of us here, many thanks for watching.